Why do you feel tired even when you didn't do much today? Why does your day feel busy but not meaningful? Welcome to Viral English Class, your calm, cozy space to learn English slowly through real conversations.
Yes, welcome back. Really, welcome back. We're so happy you're here again, sitting with us, listening, learning, and just taking a quiet moment in your day.
I'm Mania,
And I'm Robio.
and before we begin today's conversation, we just want to say something simple. Thank you.
Yes, truly, thank you. Thank you for listening, for learning with us, and for choosing to spend your time here. Because we know time is not something small.
Exactly. Every time you come back to this space, it feels a little warmer, a little more alive, and honestly, a little more meaningful for us, too.
And we want to remind you of something important today. Listening is not a small thing in language learning.
Yes, it's not just listening, it's a real skill, a deep skill, a quiet skill that grows slowly.
Even on days when you feel like nothing is happening, something is happening. Maybe not loudly, but deeply.
You're learning the rhythm of English, the natural sound, the way sentences flow, the way people actually speak.
You're learning how ideas connect, how emotions sound, how meaning moves.
So even if speaking still feels slow, please don't think you are not improving.
Because you are. Quietly, naturally, and steadily.
And if you've been learning with us for a while and you've noticed even a small change,
Please share it in the comments, because your progress might help someone else today.
yes, even one small sentence like, I understand more now, that can mean a lot.
And also, tell us something fun. Where are you listening from?
Yes, your city, your country.
We love seeing all the different places, all the small corners of the world coming together here.
It makes this feel like a real global classroom.
A calm one, thankfully.
Yes, very calm.
All right. Speaking of real life, Mania, why do you suddenly look like you're hiding something?
Because I am. Robio, I need to confess something.
Uh-oh. That tone is never a good sign. Go on.
Last night, I looked at the clock very seriously and I said, tonight, I will sleep early.
That sounds responsible. Very impressive already.
Yes, very mature, very organized, very unrealistic.
What happened next?
At 12:47 a.m., I was still awake watching a video called How to Build a Wooden Cabin in the Finnish Forest.
No. Why were you there?
I don't know. I don't live in Finland. I don't build cabins. I don't even like mosquitoes.
Exactly. This is the problem. Healthy habits sound simple until real life appears.
Yes, in theory, everything is perfect.
In theory, we all have beautiful routines.
But in real life, your brain suddenly says, let's ruin everything.
For no reason.
Exactly.
You make one good plan, and then suddenly you're tired, hungry, distracted, emotional.
And somehow you're holding your phone like it pays rent.
That is painfully accurate.
So, yes, today we are talking about healthy habits, but not in a fake, perfect way.
Not in that wake up early and drink water way.
Because real habits are messier than that.
They're connected to your energy, your emotions, your stress, your daily life.
And honestly, the relationship you have with yourself.
Hmm. And I think this is where things become more honest. Because when people say, I need better habits,
Sometimes what they really mean is, I don't feel like I'm taking care of myself.
Yes, exactly. Or, I keep doing things that make my life harder and I don't know how to stop.
That feeling is very real and also very common.
And that's why this topic matters, because we're not only talking about food or sleep or exercise.
We're talking about patterns,
Yes, the small things you repeat every day.
things that feel small, almost invisible.
But slowly, they shape your whole life,
Your mood, your energy, your focus.
your confidence, even your identity.
And that's the scary part.
Yes, because in the moment, these small habits don't feel powerful.
They feel normal, easy, sometimes even harmless.
But when you repeat them every day, they become something much bigger.
Wow, so this conversation started with your late night video.
And now we're talking about identity.
That escalated quickly.
It really did, but it's true.
And before we go deeper, let's remind our listeners something important.
Yes, this lesson is for intermediate learners.
So if your English is not perfect, that's completely okay.
You don't need to understand every word.
Just follow the feeling.
Let the meaning come slowly.
And later, we'll explore some useful words together.
Yes, a calm word tour.
But first, let's ask something simple.
What is one healthy habit you keep promising yourself but keep breaking?
That sounds a little dramatic.
But also very accurate.
For me, sleeping early.
Strong answer.
Embarrassingly strong.
Mine is, I'll just check one thing on my phone.
Ah, yes, the most dishonest sentence in modern history.
Truly.
All right, let's go a little deeper now.
Okay, can I start with something slightly uncomfortable?
Is it one of those truths that sounds wise in the morning but annoying at night?
Yes, exactly that kind.
All right, go on.
Most people already know what healthy habits look like.
Yes, that's so true.
People know sleep matters, people know movement matters, people know stress matters.
So the problem is not information.
Exactly. Nobody hears vegetables are good for you and suddenly says, this changes everything.
No, we already know.
The hard part is not knowing.
The hard part is living.
Yes, real life.
That's where everything becomes messy.
Because real life is strange.
You're tired.
Your phone is glowing,
Your mood is unstable.
and suddenly the healthy plan you made at 8 a.m. feels like it was written by another person.
Morning you is very hopeful.
Morning me is ambitious.
Night you has snacks.
Sadly, yes.
And that's why this next idea matters.
Healthy habits are not only actions.
They are identity choices.
Yes, a habit becomes stronger when it stops feeling like a task.
And starts feeling like part of who you are.
For example, instead of saying, I'm trying to be healthy this week,
You say, I am someone who takes care of my body.
that feels different.
Yes, the first one feels temporary.
The second one feels personal.
And that's where the word intentional becomes important.
Yes, if something is intentional, you do it on purpose.
With awareness, not randomly,
Not because the day pushed you.
but because you chose it.
And honestly, that already feels healthier even before the habit becomes perfect.
Because a healthy life,
Is built slowly,
through small, intentional choices.
repeated quietly over time.
So maybe the better question is,
Not what habit should I copy?
but what do I want my daily choices to say about me?
That is a much better place to begin.
But even when people understand their habits, there is still another problem.
Yes, something that is not always obvious.
The environment.
Ah, yes, that changes everything.
Your environment is often stronger than your willpower.
That is such an important truth. and also a little uncomfortable.
Because people usually blame themselves first.
They say, I have no discipline.
I am weak.
I can't control myself.
But sometimes it's not about you.
It's about what is around you.
Yes, your space, your room, your habits, your setup.
For example, why do people keep eating snacks?
Because the snacks are right there,
In a clear jar on the table.
looking confident, like little villains.
Yes, very confident snacks.
Or why do people keep checking their phone at night?
Because the phone is next to the pillow.
A very toxic bedtime companion.
And this matters because when something is always there,
It becomes easy, too easy.
and when something is easy, we don't question it.
We just do it.
So instead of asking, why am I so weak?
Maybe a better question is, what around me is making this harder
That question feels kinder.
and also smarter?
Because sometimes the problem is not your personality.
It's your environment.
Yes, your desk, your kitchen, your room, your notifications.
Everything around you is quietly influencing your behavior.
It's like trying to walk forward while the floor is moving backward.
Exactly. And you don't even notice it,
Until you feel tired
or frustrated.
or confused.
And then you think, something is wrong with me.
But maybe something is wrong with the setup.
Yes, and that's where another word fits perfectly.
Detrimental.
Yes, if something is detrimental, it slowly harms you,
Even if it looks small.
even if it feels normal.
For example, too much screen time at night.
It doesn't feel dangerous,
But over time, it damages your sleep
and your energy,
and your focus.
and your mood,
And suddenly, your whole day feels heavier.
because of one small habit.
Repeat it again and again.
And I think there's something even deeper here.
What do you mean?
Many unhealthy habits are not really about pleasure.
Oh, yes, that's true.
They are about comfort.
Yes, emotional comfort.
Exactly. People don't always scroll because they want to,
Sometimes they scroll because they feel tired
or lonely,
or stressed,
or overwhelmed.
and they just want a break.
A quick escape,
A small moment of relief.
even if it's temporary.
Yes, even if tomorrow feels worse.
That's the difficult part,
Because these habits help you
but also hurt you.
at the same time.
And that creates a loop.
Yes, a cycle.
You feel bad,
You do something to feel better.
but later you feel worse again.
And repeat.
And many people call this lack of discipline.
But maybe it's not that simple.
Maybe it's emotional.
Maybe it's human.
Yes, very human.
And this changes the question.
Instead of asking, how do I stop this habit?
We can ask, what is this habit giving me?
Comfort?
Escape?
Rest?
Distraction?
Relief?
Because if we understand the need,
We can find a better solution,
a healthier one.
a more supportive one.
Otherwise, if we remove the habit,
The feeling will still be there.
and something else will replace it.
Exactly.
It's like trying to remove an umbrella while the rain is still falling.
So, the problem is not the umbrella,
It's the rain.
and that is where real change begins.
And I think now we arrive at something even bigger.
Yes, something that is not just personal.
Modern life itself.
Yes, because modern life is not always built for healthy habits.
Not at all. In fact, sometimes it pushes us in the opposite direction.
sit more, scroll more, sleep less.
Reply faster. Do more. Don't stop.
That really sounds like a modern lifestyle speech.
Yes, and the strange part is, it feels normal now,
Yes, even when it's exhausting.
even when it's overwhelming.
People think this is just how life is.
But sometimes they are not failing.
They're just living inside a system that is not helping them.
Exactly. Because many unhealthy choices today are designed to be easy,
Very easy.
and the healthy choices,
Require more effort,
more intention.
more awareness.
Think about it.
Rest takes intention.
Walking takes intention,
Cooking takes intention.
but distraction,
Is always ready,
always open.
always available.
Your phone never asks, "Are you sure you want to waste 40 minutes?"
No, it says, here are 5 more things you might like.
Exactly. And that's why we need to be more intentional,
Not perfect.
but aware.
And this is where a very useful idea comes in.
Yes, cut back on,
If you cut back on something, you reduce it.
not to zero, but to a healthier level.
And I like this idea because it feels realistic.
Yes, not extreme.
Not change everything.
Just adjust slowly.
Cut back on scrolling.
Cut back on late nights.
Cut back on constant noise.
Cut back on always being available.
That feels kinder.
Yes, it feels like support, not punishment,
And that's very important because habits only work,
if they fit your real life,
not your perfect life,
not your ideal version,
but your actual everyday life.
with your energy, your schedule, your emotions.
And this brings us to another important word.
Sustainable.
Yes, if something is sustainable, you can continue doing it,
Not for 3 days,
not for 1 week,
but for months.
even years.
And that changes everything,
Because many people create habits that look impressive.
but don't last.
They say, from tomorrow, everything changes.
Yes, the famous sentence. And then tomorrow comes.
And reality says, good luck with that.
Exactly. And that's why moderation matters.
Yes, moderation means balance.
Not too much,
Not too little,
just enough.
to support your life.
And honestly, moderation is not exciting,
It's not dramatic,
but it works.
and it feels peaceful.
And when something finally fits your life, something beautiful happens.
You start to trust yourself again.
Yes, that feeling is very powerful.
Because every time you keep a small promise,
Something inside you says, I can rely on myself.
and that builds confidence.
Real confidence, not loud, but steady,
And maybe that is more important.
than any perfect routine.
So, after everything we've talked about, habits, environment, emotions, modern life, it feels like we are arriving somewhere quieter.
Yes. Not louder, not more complicated, but calmer.
And maybe that's the real goal,
Not to control every part of your life,
but to understand it,
to feel it.
to move through it a little more gently.
Because when people hear better habits,
They often imagine a perfect version of themselves,
disciplined, focused, always consistent,
never tired, never distracted.
almost not human anymore.
Yes, and that image can feel heavy.
Because real life doesn't look like that.
Real life is messy.
Some days you feel strong.
Some days you don't.
Some days you follow your plan,
Some days you forget everything.
and that's not failure.
That's being human.
And I think this is the most important message.
You don't need to be perfect.
You just need to be aware.
To notice what helps you,
And what slowly hurts you,
to see your patterns.
without judging yourself too harshly.
Because when you judge too much,
You create pressure.
and pressure does not build good habits.
It builds resistance.
Yes, that feeling of, I don't want to do this anymore.
But when you approach yourself with a little more kindness,
Everything changes.
you become more patient,
More flexible.
more understanding,
And suddenly, change feels possible again.
not forced.
But natural.
And maybe after listening today,
You don't need to change your whole life.
just one small thing.
Maybe tonight, you go to bed a little earlier.
Maybe tomorrow morning you don't check your phone immediately.
Maybe during your day, you take one quiet pause.
Or you finish one small task instead of carrying it all day.
These are small actions.
But they change how your day feels.
And over time, they change your life.
Not suddenly,
Not dramatically,
but slowly,
quietly.
step by step.
And that kind of change,
Lasts longer.
because it fits who you are,
Not a perfect version.
but the real you.
And that is enough.
More than enough.
Before we finish, let's remember something simple.
You are not behind.
You are not too late.
You are not failing.
You are learning,
Adjusting,
growing,
even if it feels slow.
even if it feels small.
It still matters.
So be patient with yourself
Be kind to yourself.
and give yourself space,
To breathe.
because life is not a race,
It is a journey.
and you are allowed,
To walk slowly.
yes, no need to run all the time. This is Rabio
And this is Aminia.
from Viral English Class.
Thank you for spending this quiet moment with us.
For listening, for learning, and for being here.
If this lesson helped you,
Don't forget to like the video
subscribe to the channel.
and share it with someone who needs a calm moment too.
Keep learning.
Keep growing.
And most importantly,
Keep going.
bye.
Bye.